Speaking of things going on, uh, with people telling different stories and telling and getting into the truth of things and getting below table surface level, we have Kimberly Renee, who has her own platform on Instagram that is dedicated to exposing corporations and companies, our common companies that we uh, do business with every day. She exposes the truth, the lies. She exposes everything from the CEO to diversity amongst the not the CEO, but the people that have influence in the companies. And she is also USA Woman of the Year. This is Kimberly Renee, ladies and gentlemen.
She's coming up right now. Can't wait to talk to her.
I can't wait either. I love her content.
There she is.
What up? Hey, friends.
Hey.
Hi.
How are you?
Good.
Well,
How are you?
I'm awesome.
good day.
I'm awesome. Thank y'all so much for having me today.
How you feeling? How's your day going?
Oh man, today has been good. I was in the gym earlier.
Okay.
And I got destroyed by my trainer. You know, we're trying to work on the body. Like, it's still summer, but we're working on it.
Yes.
Oh my God. Malloy, you be in the gym too. Do you have a trainer? I need a trainer.
No, I just hit the treadmill. I'm gonna start working on the body exercise, but I have a personal relationship with the treadmill.
Oh.
So, yeah.
Sounds saucy.
I get on and I'm like, okay, I know this is going to be tiring, but I've lost like 10 pounds in like a week and a half on top of like cutting down a lot of stuff at once. So, yeah.
Well, Kimberly, thank you for coming to the Pink Clubhouse, of course. We appreciate
sure.
it. And I just want to know a little bit more about you, if that's okay with you. Because you do so many amazing things. You are a groundbreaking person, and you do great things for the community. Describe to us a turning point in your career thus far.
Thus far?
You...
So, you know what's interesting? So I actually used to create content around food.
Okay.
And so, well, you probably remember that. So like a lot of my content was about like being in the kitchen and preparing things. Because I love food. I love, like, my friends know I can throw down. Like, I'm the person you come to my house because we about to have a party. Like, I'm the person you call when you're ready to, like, you know, you need a caterer, but you don't want to pay for one. You need that friend. That's me.
Yes.
So,
you're also a vegan.
Me, yes, I'm also vegan, and I think you're vegan too. Yes.
Yeah.
So the turning point for me with what I'm doing right now was probably last year when I went from focusing on just food content to just telling stories about things that mattered to me, you know? So I started to elevate people from Black history that I found interesting. I started to amplify hidden things that people aren't typically aware of. I started to do some of what Malloy talked about before of, you know, exposing some of the treachery that's behind the scenes when it comes to like corporate spaces. And so when I started doing that, people were like, oh, we like this. I'm like, yo, for real? Y'all like it? Okay. So I kind of like just kept going in that direction. Mm-hmm. And in doing so, like, I think my platform went from maybe like 21,000, which was about last year, maybe March, to like by the time we got to the middle of 2022, I was at maybe 80,000. So it jumped pretty quickly over that short period. And so by the end of the year, it was at 100,000. I was like, oh, y'all really like this content. So we've kind of been on that journey. But what's interesting is that not only are these stories powerful and people are connecting with them, but it's like opening the doors to other things that I hadn't thought about, you know, like being a consultant for like a film or creating my own TV show or writing books or, you know, stuff that just wasn't like, it wasn't on my bingo card. Like I just wasn't thinking about it. You know, I was just like, how do I live an independent life and be at peace with myself, you know, and show up in a meaningful way? Like, that's really what I wanted. But it wasn't, I didn't necessarily have like all the colors that say this is what the painting is supposed to look like. I just knew what I wanted it to do at the end of the day. So I'll probably say that was maybe a turning point. Like last year is kind of shifting and kind of telling those stories in a different way was that turning point.
I mean, sometimes you don't know, you know, you live in this life and then something hits you in the head and, you know, essentially then that propels you forward. So I appreciate that, definitely.
For sure.
Yeah.
We speak of you doing a lot of cooking work and getting into different stories with exposing corporations. When it comes down to your life and your accolades and who you are, what is the meaning of life for you?
Meaning of life? Look, I didn't know y'all was going to be asking, like, you know, philosophical questions. What you mean? The meaning of life. You know, I feel like, I think everybody has their own purpose, right? I think each of us has something to contribute, you know, whether you're kind of in a vein like me where you're telling stories, or maybe you are a musician, for example, you're a songwriter, you're a singer, or maybe you're just really good at keeping things clean. You're a janitor. Like, I think we all have a role,
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Whatever that is, big and small.
Yeah.
And I think the key is leaning into that and being confident in whatever that is, right? And not deciding in your mind that one role is more important than the other. Because for me, without having all of these roles that work together, like, we have dysfunction. And I think kind of speaking to something that you were talking about before, where you have like artists and writers and other people being taken advantage of, we have this like unbalanced system of capitalism that keeps those lower jobs and people making less money, but they're still valuable. They should be able to make a living wage. They should be able to go to work every day without having to work 3 jobs just to take care of their family. Like, to me, that's unfair, right? So we have these big people at the top making these millions of dollars, and people at the bottom making billions, you're right, and people at the bottom who are barely being able to keep the lights on. And it's like, but without these people over here, this up top doesn't work. Like, it falls apart, which is why we have so much power in unions and strikes and all the stuff that y'all were talking about before. It's literally the same thing that Martin Luther King was marching about. It's like, it's the poor people's march, the march of the people. We deserve a fulfilled life to define for ourselves what our meaning of life is, without somebody else trying to decide what that is for us.
Yeah. I definitely, I mean, I get into that a little bit. But do you feel like sometimes you're not kind of appreciated? Because I feel we do need to talk about how Jeff Bezos makes $40 billion and his associates at his plants, you know, can be fired at will and have health insurance, don't have any of those things, you know, everywhere. This is Walmart, all these places that don't pay their people. And like you said, we're all essential. And I feel that one thing, people need to understand that we're all essential. Whether you work at McDonald's, you know, and I hate some of those videos where you see someone like, you work at McDonald's, and it's just like, but you're here. You know, you're actually here getting your meal that you need for the day, by the way. But do you feel appreciated? Because some of these conversations can get people to turn off from you, and run away from you. They don't want to hear, because you talk that black talk, you talk this, that, and that, which I get a lot of times. Okay, so I'll be like, all right, let me just turn off for the day. Do you feel appreciated?
I think those are kind of 2 questions, right? One is, are people turned off? And 2, do I feel appreciated? You know, I have an incredible like community of friends and people who encourage me, and they're the only ones who matter. Like, I don't know who said this, but it was somebody says that if you have like a problem with me, text me, and if you don't have my number to text me, you ain't got no problem with me, right? Because you don't know me well enough to have a problem with me. So I think there are people in my circle who keep me in check, who keep me, honestly, because I'm more of the person that be like, I ain't really nothing. Like, that's me. So my friends are usually the ones that be like, girl, did you see, like, my friends are the ones who be like, no, you need to, you know what I'm saying? Because I tend to like push myself down in the sense of like, I'm like, yeah, I know, but like, I have in my mind, like, I have so much more to do, right? Because I see myself at like step 2. And they're like, but this was fire. I'm like, yeah, but it's so not. And I'm like, but it is. So do I feel appreciated? in my community? Absolutely. Are there people organizations who might shy away from, say, working with me because I'm a little bit more clear on the power struggles that exist in corporate spaces and comfortable talking about that? Probably. Am I the type of person that if an organization says they want to work with me, will I also talk smack about them if they're doing something improper? Absolutely. Here's why. Because if we're partners, I should be able to address you, right? If I'm a random person and I don't know you, because remember we talked about if I got your number. So if I got your number, I should be able to say, hey, here's the thing, right? I did the same thing with Oatly, right? So about 2, maybe 3 years ago, we found out that Oatly, which is a oat milk brand. They have they were connected to slave labor that was actively happening in Brazil. And so the first thing that I did was I reached out to them directly and I was like, yo, what's up? They ain't really give me no time of day. And I said, okay. So I told my people and then it became an issue, right? So now we're talking about it publicly. And so then when I came back, it was like, oh, well, we're aware of it. We're looking into it. I was like, oh no, I made you aware of it because you weren't talking about it and you were acting like it didn't exist. This is not okay. Now, just 6 months before, they had just gave me a grant for doing some awesome work. But was I scared to say something? Absolutely not. Because the value that $1,000 that you gave me over the value of the lives of the people who are being abused right now in Brazil, who are losing their lives, who are being taken advantage of in the most grotesque sort of way, forget your $1,000. Like you can have it back for all that matter. You know what I'm saying? Like we have to. I value taking care of people over money, which means that sometimes I'm in rooms or sometimes I'm not invited to rooms because people know that.
That is very, very important. So you stand for the people and not the money. I think that's literally what will extend the longevity of humanity and not just treat people as objects. We even speak back to the beginning of the show where we were talking about sex trafficking. There's like so much human trafficking going on, labor trafficking and whatnot. We've talked about a lot of serious things so far, but what is the funniest story in your life?
Funniest?
Yes.
I can tell you one that comes to mind. Listen, my whole life is funny. I laugh all day. I think people see the types of things that I talk about online and they have possibly a perception that I'm serious, and I am. But 95% of the time, I'm laughing at everything, right? I'm laughing at inappropriate things. Like, I have the most inappropriate jokes. Like, I just laugh, right? Because the things that we talk about are weighty, right? And I think as a person of color, finding joy is such an important thing because I think joy is a form of resistance. So in as much as I am carrying the weight of having these massive conversations, I'm also finding joy. So speaking of funny things, the first thing that came to mind, and I guess, just because of how I know you, Malloy, is that like I was on set for a commercial one time and the lady was doing my makeup. And I was like so impressed when she walked in. She had like a palette with like all these colors. She had like the little blues. And I was like, oh, you gonna mix my foundation? I'm so excited. Like she was like mixing the colors or whatever. I was like, yes. She was like, oh yeah, I've done for theater and this, that, whatever. So she did my makeup. There were no mirrors because we're in an office. This is a corporate shoot. We're in an office. So there are no mirrors.
Oh, no.
So she's my only mirror, right? Okay. So she did my makeup. I was like, fine. And then we start to shoot. We shoot, they finish it. I don't hear nothing from them. Like, I don't hear nothing from the agency. I don't hear nothing from the corporation. I don't hear nothing for a while. So I reached back and I said, hey, so can I see the video of or photography or something? Listen, I looked dead. When I say I looked casket ready, like I was so pale.
Who did you make?
I was like, I don't even know her name. She should have been fired. The type, okay, you know what? She was Asian. And I don't know, you know what it reminded me of? So I know that there are some Asians who want their skin whiter. And so some of their makeup kind of in that historic vein kind of goes more white. But girl, do you see this melanin? What are you doing? Oh my God, everything looked terrible. I would have been like, you know what, please throw away the entire thing. I pray that never surfaces, because if it does, I'm going to make a video about it and find out that woman's name and tag her. Not that I would be embarrassed, because I didn't do the makeup. But it was hilarious. I said, from that point forward, I will bring my own makeup to set, and I did from that point. I learned a hard lesson at that moment.
Making you into a geisha, Lord, what the hell? Now I want to know, what's maybe the spiciest opinion that most people disagree with you on?
Spiciest opinion? I don't know. I might need time to marinate on that, because people always disagree with me. Like, there's always something. Like, this is a regular occurrence. You know, it's funny though. I think people don't realize that, like, I talk back. Like, you know how sometimes you post things and then you see these talking heads and you assume that they're like, you treat them like an entity and not a person. But, like, you know, people talk. I talk back. You get saucy with me, I'm getting saucy back. Especially on a certain day of the month, you might get a little extra sauce. You know what I'm saying? So, like, just know I talk back. I mean, I'm not trying to be rude. Like, I am a gracious person oftentimes when people ask questions. But when folks try to tell me what to do, I'm like, who are you? Who told, like, whose mama are you? My mama don't even tell me what to do. Like, let's be clear. Right. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's probably where the sauce comes from, but it is a regular occurrence, which is why I have my comments off. So only people who really are down with me, well, you know, I'm fine with differing opinions. I'm completely fine with that. We do not have to agree. But I don't like name calling. I don't like people who are like, well, you just don't know, like, can you research what you're saying, as opposed to having an opinion that is based in nothing? Because, like, I'm going to give you sources. You're just giving me your feelings, and your feelings are valid, but your feelings are not rooted in truth. So can you go find the truth first and come back and reevaluate those feelings? Because I think that's kind of where we bump heads, you know, but I'll do it graciously.
Do you find that when you speak from a place of knowledge that people often will, I guess, kind of like treat you as if you talk higher or from a higher place, when really you're just educating?
I don't really know much. I think the more you know, the more you realize you don't know.
You research and do things. So
I do. I learn it when I tell you.
Right.
Like, there is not like this. I hated history in school. I didn't learn a whole lot. I didn't like it. Like, it was my worst class. Like, I got the worst grades in it. I didn't want to be there. I didn't like reading the stuff. I didn't see myself. I wasn't in for it.
Right.
So to have this, like, full circle of coming back now and actually talking about history is, like, weird to everybody, including me. So when I find out things, I'm like, I'm really shocked. I'm like, I had never heard this before. I'm like, do y'all know this? Because I didn't know that.
Based on the whitewashing of everything, I think we have a more thought on history now, because we're actually learning what really happened.
Yes.
Correct.
Yeah. That's interesting.
Yeah. So do people think I think highly of myself? I don't know. You know, I don't really think about what people think about as much, you know, unless they're actually vocalizing it. Like, you know, I've never had anybody say, you think you this, you think you that. I'm like, I really don't. Yeah. Like, I found this out a week ago, and I'm telling you today. Like, we learning together. You know, I'm not this elevated, scholarly. I can research. I can do that. You know, I know how to verify, but I don't have this deck of information that I'm pulling from. It's real time. We are doing this together in real time.
Right.
If I could picture you not as an object, how would I say that? I could picture you, describing you as an open table to bring people who are seats to the table. You are very welcoming, and even getting to know you on set, it was like really funny that day, because we were there for a high school shoot, and everybody thought that we were in high school or something, and people could not believe when we told them our ages, because I was like, okay, I definitely think that she's in college, but you blew my mind when you told me you didn't. But you're definitely a welcoming individual, and definitely you are a conversation starter, and you continue to keep the conversation going in a meaningful way. How
Thank
can
you.
people? You are so welcome. I'm like struggling over here with my voice, but how can people continue to support your work, and where can people follow you?
Yeah. So a couple of things that I have going on right now. In February, I released an app called Black in Time. And the goal of the app is to be that place where we can learn history no matter where we travel to. So the app is just getting started right now. There is one tour, and I'm working on a couple others to be going in at the end of this year and the beginning of next year. Right now, the first tour that's in there is about what I call the lost city of Brooklyn, which isn't in New York where you were earlier. It's actually in North Carolina. And it was a city that was eradicated during the period of urban renewal, where basically white people decided that our properties were not valuable. And so stories like that I'm putting in the app so that when you're going to a place, you can actually experience the history and learn it, and not just kind of the whitewashed version of it. So it's kind of like a tour companion. So that is in the Apple Store, that's in Google Play. And so that's one way to support what I'm doing, because it's free app.
Let me download that.
You don't have so it's free. It's produced. So I think both of you will appreciate that, with voiceover, music, sound effects, all of that. So you want to listen to it in your ears. It is a tour that you can take in person or virtually. So if you're not in Charlotte right now, but you still want to get that first experience, you can do that. But you want to download it, because more downloads means that more opportunities. And so that's how you support, and it doesn't cost you anything.
Right.
So the other way to support my work, obviously, is financially, which you can do on my page. I won't go into that, but my page is It's Kimberly Renee, ITS. And I think I'm on this thing, so you can just hit that little button and hit the follow with my name on it if you want to do that. But here on Instagram, I be trying on TikTok. I ain't winning, but I'm over there too.
But you know what? Your work is being seen and appreciated here on Instagram. I see you pop up all the time. And you have also popped into the end of our shows when we're going off air. And I definitely want to continue to say thank you for watching our show as well.
Yeah.
For sure. Thank y'all both for having me.
Just talking about it's giving me, have you watched, what's that show, Malloy? How did I forget the name really quick? It's on HBO. We were just talking about it last week.
Oh my gosh.
The show with Journey Smollett.
It was filmed.
Why would I forget that? But they were doing a guidebook for Black people, where when they would travel throughout the 60s.
You're talking about like the Green Book?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Your app is kind of giving me that for our century, so I appreciate it. Yeah, sure. Definitely, because we need that. Because sometimes I'll be going places and I'm like,
what happened here?
Right. Right. Please, y'all, make sure y'all follow Kimberly. She's doing great things. Lovecraft Country. That's the name.
Lovecraft. Yes.
And you were on it. Please, y'all, follow her. Please download her app in February. Are you, why February? Is that your birthday month?
Why did I launch it in February? Black History Month?
Okay. I was just saying. Maybe it was your birthday thing. Black History Month.
No.
I'm a February baby, so it's very special. Everything
cool.
happens in February is special to me. But yes, please, y'all, download her app. Please, y'all, follow her. She's doing great things for our community and teaching others about what we've gone through, and which is being eradicated by many, many people. So thank you, Kimberly, for joining us. The Pink Clubhouse
for sure.
Back in February when your app launches. Okay.
Yeah.
We appreciate it.
Yeah. Well, no, it's already launched. It launched this past February.
This past February. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. What's the name of it? Tell people again. I'm sorry. One more time.
The name
Black
is
in Time.
Black in Time.
Black in Time.
Yes.
Okay. Gotcha.
3 words.
BLACKINTIME.
The way that they're spelled.
Yes. All right, y'all have a great rest of your show.
Thank you. We'll see you soon.